I want to set up a new payment system to make it easier for my customers to transact on my platform. Who else will have the subject matter expertise but Treasury on this? So there's just so much more that Treasury does. And if you say, what am I the most passionate about among all of these? I would say the strategic planning and business partnering aspect of it is where I am most passionate about. That spreads the word about Treasury to the rest of the business. That is what truly leverages our expertise.
Before we start, I want to highlight the biggest challenge I've noticed in the Treasury industry. It's professionals finding it tough to build an impactful brand. That's exactly why I put together an ebook, Building and Managing an Impactful Professional Brand. It has helped over 100 professionals define their unique values and stand out in their careers. In this ebook, you'll find practical tips to build a strong network and sharpen the skills you need to succeed in this industry. And the best part? It's completely free. Grab your copy now by clicking the link in the description below. Hello, everyone. This is Ernie Humphrey. I'm your host for the Treasury Truth or Dare podcast. Honored and humbled to have with me Sunny Gutta. She is the Director of Treasury at Reddit. So before we jump in, if you haven't had a chance to experience our podcast, I'll give you a little bit overview how things work. So what I do is I ask my guests to go through several rounds of truth or dare with me. So they'll get to choose a truth or a dare, and then I will ask them to share a treasury truth, or I will give them a little bit of a dare to give us a little bit of insight into what makes them tick and why they are so interested in the fun world of treasury. So to kick things off, Sunny, why don't you just kick us off and give us a little bit about your background in Treasury and really what brought you into the Treasury profession?
Yes, absolutely. Ernie, thanks so much for having me over here. I definitely gone through some of your podcasts, and it is a nice, fun twist to a profession which is always considered to be very boring, may I say. So just to give you a brief background about myself, I'm originally from India. I moved to US in 2016 to pursue my master's. And as I was getting done with master's and I was thinking through my career opportunities, one of them was a treasury rotational program at General Motors. That is where I got hooked on to Treasury. I've done the rotational program at GM is amazing. You get to experience multiple roles within Treasury. Every 12, 15 months, you get rotated. And I enjoyed every single one of them and have been hooked onto it since then.
I have no doubt you've had some fascinating stories in the world. Let's just say it's a little bit dynamic in the automotive world, and of course, what you're doing now at Reddit is even might be even more fascinating. But we'll get into that a little bit later. All right, we're gonna kick things off, everyone. Treasury, truth, or dare. You gonna kick us off? We're gonna go with a truth or jump right into a dare.
Let's start with the truth.
All right, sounds good. Okay, you've been in Treasury probably. You're getting there. Maybe 8, 9 years now, and even before. Do you sense there are any myths about the role of Treasury that exist? And would you like to address those or just kind of give us your thoughts on why they're not myths? What are the realities versus those?
Absolutely. And I think there are several myths about Treasury, and glad that I have an opportunity to address some of them. I think one of the biggest one is that Treasury is all about managing cash and payments. That's a significant part of our job, but in reality, Treasury is so much more dynamic than that. And the role of the treasurer or the Treasury team continues to vary and adapt truly itself to the company that you are working in. We are a strategic partner to the business. Now think about the treasurer of a financial services firm or something like a Stripe versus something like what we did at General Motors. It's going to be completely different, and you have to adapt to the business. And it is not always about managing cash or payments. So that's definitely one of the biggest myths I've always seen people have. I think the second one is probably a little bit more about thinking, oh, treasury is something which only larger organizations tend to focus on, which having seen a larger organization like General Motors and then now having worked in, a company that is ramping up like Reddit and having spoken to so many of my peers, it's probably a myth. In reality, Treasury is very much a core function. It is probably be one of the most important function that a CFO needs to focus on, especially if the CFO has plans of taking company public. You got to have Treasury on your core team.
Let me jump back a little bit. So, Treasury is more than cash management and payments. Why don't you touch on a few of the other areas, and maybe in doing that, tell us which of those areas are you most passionate about?
We are definitely involved in, I mean, that's our bread and butter, cash, managing cash and payments, but then we are just so much more than that. Risk management, helping companies manage your financial risks like foreign exchange risk, interest rate risk, commodity risks. It all falls under Treasury. Just beyond the fancy risk management, you also have your corporate risk management program, and a lot of times companies do not realize, or people outside of Treasury do not realize, that Treasury also handles the insurance program, the corporate insurance program for a company. Capital markets activity, like one of my first role within General Motors was to work with credit rating agencies. We were pretty much the investor relations team on the
Okay.
debt side because you're working so closely with Moody's, S&P, Fitch, and the companies that need to rate your debt. You are heavily involved whenever there is, a debt financing issue, an equity financing. I was part of Reddit's IPO. I was part of General Motors when we were issuing debt or when we were renewing or setting up new credit facilities. It's truly what we bring the flexibility to the balance sheet to all of these companies. And beyond that, like when you think about international expansion, you cannot do that without Treasury. To set up an entity, you probably need to start at a very basic function, which is setting up a bank account for the company. How are you going to move the cash? What kind of FX risks are involved? All of these things, like it's just so much beyond that. And then as companies evolve, treasuries need to stop working, silos and continue to be a good business partner. And it is a mutual relationship. Treasuries need to outreach, need to have more of an outreach, and business partners also need to reach out to us. But things like, oh, I want to set up a new payment system to make it easier for my customers to transact on my platform. Who else will have the subject matter expertise but Treasury on this? There's just so much more that Treasury does. And if you say, what am I the most passionate about among all of these? I would say the strategic planning and business partnering aspect of it is where I am most passionate about. That spreads the word about Treasury to the rest of the business. That is what truly leverages our expertise.
Love it. So we can commiserate a little bit about all the responsibilities that you had. So I used to get pulled into investor relations. We were a mid-market company, but I would actually help prepare the CFO for the analyst calls and deal with the analysts and get that information. And so you definitely get a lot more insight. So you are, in a sense, a lot of times we are the ownership of our brand with the outside world, which especially with General Motors, oh, that impacts the financial success of the company. And in going through all the dynamics that you went through, even with COVID, I mean, that's just incredibly important. So I've had other people say we are the lifeblood of the company, but that's not just moving the cash, and we have to manage the exposures correctly and make sure we have the debt structure correctly, and then do all those things. But you also another thing you touched on, which we also often talk about, is the brand outside of Treasury across the organization, and that's incredibly important. And the
Yes.
better we are doing that, the more we're going to have these conversations, and we can talk about all the things we get involved in, M&A expansion. And so that's why it's exciting to me. Yeah, every day is different. So that's
Yeah, I totally missed that. Another important aspect where Treasury plays an incredibly important role, not just in helping evaluate the M&A opportunity, but also post M&A, the integration work. It's not fancy, all red carpet, but it is what
yeah,
is needed to make that M&A
yeah.
successful.
And you probably already got involved in this, but and I may have done this at GM, but I used to do acquisition integrations, and you'll have all these things coming in. You'll have to figure out how the insurance policies fit together, how the tails come across, how the benefit plans they have are coming together, and how their systems work. And so you really become the expert on that company. So anytime anyone, especially the accounting team, I read it's like, "Oh, we didn't know about this." They'll say, "Hey, Sonny, this happens 5 years later. I used to have this." So it's actually pretty cool.
Absolutely. Integration is so much more beyond just saying, these are the two companies, this is where we are going to work. But, well, how are the data systems integrated? How are the banking systems integrated? Are there any, redundant policies over there? There's just so many things involved in M&A integration that itself becomes an entire stream of work.
Okay, well, let's go back to we covered, like, several rounds in there, but let's go back to get you another round. You gonna do another truth? Are you ready to, go for a dare for us?
Okay, getting into the groove of it, let's go with a dare.
Alright, alright. So this question, I love this. So, you work at a fascinating company, Reddit. So, can you share with me a few of your favorite subreddits?
I have a few. I'll take a pick of a bit of a variation here. I'm a dog person. I have a black lab, which I absolutely adore. So, cute dogs of Reddit is my go-to
Ah,
Reddit. At the end of the day, I just browse through, look at all those cute dogs, videos, pictures. I totally relaxes me. I have a teenage daughter, so I'm trying to get into, have a conversation with her.
right.
uh, Beauty is a
Ah,
common thing between us. So I am browsing a lot of Asian beauty subreddit. Then the third is again a guilty pleasure of mine. I am from India, absolutely love Bollywood movies. So Bollywood blinds and gossip is my another entertainment subreddit.
alright, well, since you brought that up, I have to ask. So, those of us that have not seen I can't remember exactly I've seen a few, give us a few recommendations if we want to, delve into the realm of Bollywood movies. What are a few of your favorites, if you're willing to share?
I'll have to think about that.
Just give us 1 or 2 that immediately kind of come into your head. I know there's probably a lot to choose from.
Yes. Oh, we do make a lot of movies in an year. So I think I'll start with something which is a little bit more reflective of a
Okay,
Bollywood movie or a Hindi movie. I would say we should pick probably Kuch Kuch Hota Hai,
okay,
Devdas.
okay.
That's another one of my favorite Bollywood movies. And I would say this is again probably going into the guilty pleasure realm, but
That's
I
good.
absolutely love an Bollywood movie called Om Shanti Om. It's absolutely entertaining for me. My daughter doesn't speak much of Hindi, but I make her sit and endure that movie with me.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so let's go back to another round, and then after this round, I'll let you see what you can give me for a dare. So, you want to go back to a truth, or are you ready to go for another dare?
Oh, let's switch it up. Let's go with a truth.
And this we touched on this a little bit earlier, but this is one of my passions, and this is one of the reasons why I started the podcast. What I'm on a mission to do is to increase the awareness to the treasury profession, what it is, what it's all about, how do we get people inspired, engaged. What are some ideas that you might have, or what have you already been doing to maybe recruit your team? What can we do to increase the awareness of treasury and get our brand to be more dynamic and fun and appealing to these younger folks?
Definitely doing more of Treasury Truth or Dare podcast. That's definitely an absolute must. I think I've done one other podcast like way back in 2016 where folks were interested in what are the career paths for a young professional within finance.
Right.
Everyone tends to think about investment banking or a career in hedge fund or probably even an FP&A team, but no one ever thinks about treasury. One of the things that I would absolutely love to do more, and I'm doing a little bit of that, is start talking to college students,
Right.
actually. Make them understand that, give them an option of what's the platter available there if you are interested in finance. And the best thing about Treasury is you get to do so many things in a single career. You get to work on, like we talked, M&A. You get to work on FX. You get to work on capital markets. You get to work on capital planning. Which other career offers you this kind of variety? I think that's where we need to start working on. That's actually how I first met the person who recruited me at General Motors.
Okay.
He had come down to my college
Oh,
for a
great. Yeah.
coffee chat. That's how I met him. That's how I learned about Treasury. So I think we should be doing a little bit more about reaching out to the
Yes.
college. And beyond that, I think what is also helpful is finance in general. Most finance professionals are, I wouldn't say introvert, but probably not out there. You tend to talk about the CEO of the company most of the times, maybe
Right.
even the CTO of the company or the COO. You don't talk about the CFO as much. So, having more of these conversations with leaders would truly inspire.
Right.
Like, the podcasts are available on LinkedIn. Similarly, having some LinkedIn conversations where young professionals tend to be there. I think that's another way I would say to bring more awareness about Treasury. And I might be going a little longer on this response, but another approach is to have a rotational program
Oh,
within
yes. Yes.
finance,
Mhm.
not just within Treasury, within finance. Get people who are on different teams an opportunity to do a short term, a 12 to 15-month rotation on Treasury. They might understand Treasury better. They might stick with Treasury, but even if they don't, they'll be better business partners.
I did a lot of things, but I had a buddy in Cincinnati, and I was like, "Hey, I wanna work at P&G," and he goes, "I talked to the treasurer," and he's like, "There's no way, because everybody rotates through treasury, and they just love it, so people are just crawling all over themselves." So that's a great idea. Your other idea, which I love, which we used to do a little bit more of back in the day, probably 20, 15, 20 years ago. We used to have college classes and programs, and I'm working on with some people, and I'll engage you as well. So let's target some universities and see if
Yeah.
we can get to these classes and get to these folks and help with our brand. So I appreciate what you're already doing. So good stuff. All right, I'm gonna let you give me a dare. So what do you have in mind?
Yeah, and to anyone watching this podcast, this is not aware of what I'm going to ask. So
Yeah.
this is going to come as a bit of a surprise for me. I'm going to go with a Gen Z slang challenge for you, Ernie. I have two teenagers.
Okay,
So
uh-oh.
my house is constantly beaming with all these terms, words, phrases, whatever
Yeah.
we want to call, and I have no idea what they are talking about. So I'm going to give you a word. I'm going to give my best version of the meaning of that word to you. I want you to use it in a treasury or a finance context. We'll start with no cap. In the Gen Z term means no lie or for real. If you want, I can help you with one example and then you can take it from there.
Treasury people, they're always looked at as introverted, no fun, and people say treasury profession is really dry and boring. No cap, people, not even close to the truth.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. One of these days, I am going to be telling this to my CFO and say this forecast is accurate. No cap. It's just so fun. You did it.
All right, hit me again. One more word. Let's do one
One
more.
more word. Let me pick from my list. Oh, this is my favorite.
Okay.
Riz, which is Rizz,
Okay,
which
Riz.
means
Riz?
charm or charisma.
Anyone that gets my brand at all sees me speak in person, sees me with my outfits on, and experiences me speak, they will know that I am all about the riz.
Oh, you are, Ernie. That
Okay.
laser game is spot on.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Awesome. Want to go keep going or shall we flip?
I like it though. Well, I have to confess, I've done improv before, so it helps. I always try and tell people that when they want to teach people their skills, like soft skills, they should have someone come in and do improv with their people. So that makes you think on your feet. So it's fun. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's get back to another round here. You gonna go for a truth or a dare?
I'll follow your act. Let's go with a dare.
If you were stranded on a desert island with someone that you worked with at Reddit or back at General Motors, who would you choose and why?
I have one person from Reddit and one from General Motors. I'll go with the first with the General Motors person. This was an analyst who had joined General Motors almost at the same time as I did. Senyo. He now works at Visa. And why would I pick him? He's just so fun. And I think I can talk to him about anything. We barely talk about work, even when we meet at work. I mean, I'm assuming desert island, stranded, that's a little bit of a
Yes.
stressful situation. You need to have someone to kind of calm us down and let us still enjoy. And so I think I'll pick Senyo for that. And then from a Reddit team, I had this person, the director of equity at Reddit, Amberly. She's again fun, but very quick to think on her feet. Excellent communicator, knows how to express herself really well, and can survive in any situation, can
Yeah.
think really quickly. So I think these are the two skill
Okay.
sets or things that I would definitely need if I'm stranded somewhere.
Love it. So you have people that are fun, but people that can also help you figure out how to get off the island. So I love the fun part because I'm fortunate too. I've had work colleagues at every place I've been. They're like your safe haven and they're fun. And no matter how stressed out you are, you can go and talk to them and they can get you back into the mindset. So I think that's incredibly important. And I think people that are outside of Treasury don't think that that's happens in Treasury, but it actually happens quite often. So we do one more round, and I'll give you a truth. How's that
Okay.
sound? Okay.
Okay.
I like to ask this. That's like truth is just a little more of a challenge. I'm giving you three wishes to grant on behalf of the Treasury profession. What are they?
I'll go very practical with this one. I'll say the first one, leaders, finance leaders who are very, very supportive. I've been very fortunate to work with a couple of them, especially having a CFO who truly values and understands the need for a treasury team. I think that's very important for any treasury team to perform very well. The second is a pipeline of talent pool. It is something we always constantly struggle with anywhere. Most treasury teams are looking for that pool of talent. So I would say an unending pool of talent. And the third one is seamless integration of technology and data. I think Treasury can work so much more if we use the right technology, which is seamlessly integrated with data. There's no cure to it at this point, obviously, so it remains my wish. There are systems out there, things that are working, that are not working, but that's probably going to be my third wish.
Sonny, thank you so much for being guest on my podcast. I want to thank you for what you are already doing for the Treasury profession. So we appreciate that, and we need more folks like Sonny out there. And finally, to my listeners, have the courage to live your Treasury truths and dare to be great in everything you do within and beyond Treasury. Until next time, everyone. Thanks for watching the show. I hope you guys liked it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned and hit the subscribe button for more.